Hey everyone, Crash and Crash Customs, Lake Havasu, Arizona. Saturday at the shop, my day for sure. I'm gonna hit this again. Last time I installed QA1 coilovers in the front and got it sitting right where I want it. Now, I don't know if you can tell or if you saw the last one, but the wheels don't turn. 26's, wheel well opening, too narrow. And cut some fenders. Let's do it. Come on. Disassemble some of this. Obviously the wheels got to come off so I can get in here, but the inner wheel well has to come out because I want to be able to get to the backside of the fender, and rocker trim needs to come off. This one's already wrecked, unfortunately, so anyone got a line on a driver's lower rocker trim would be great. Drop it down in the comments if you do, or message me. So anyways, disassembly. Let's hopefully this all comes out super easy, right? It's a nice rust-free Arizona car. Famous last words, right? Show you what's gonna happen here. Basically, I'm going to cut around here and along here, shorten this up, open this up, right? And turn the wheel, see what happens. If I have to get after the backside here, it'll be pretty much the same procedure. The goal here though is I want to be able to look in this wheel well and not see a cut inner fender either side. And unless you really know these square body caddies, I want the wheel well lip opening and trim all to look factory, as if though I never cut, welded, and open this up at all. Let me show you where we're at. We're mostly disassembled. Inner wheel wells are out. You can see here the driver's side one was cracked and repaired back in the day. So I guess I'll try to hunt a new one of those down, used probably, right? And this bottle, dry rotted, garbage. This probably works, but that's garbage. That was garbage new. That's not going back on. Passenger side, all solid, just needs to be cleaned up and detailed. And you can see now, I didn't, when it was all assembled, I knew this was metal, and I was kind of hoping to remove it, but it's actually the inner fender structure. So this may have to get modified just so I can get a little more bounce when it's low, because the tire was about here, right? And if this wasn't angled like that and more squared off, I'd probably have a little bit more suspension travel when it's low, but it will also determine where the wheel is going to be when I turn, because I don't want to pull into a steep driveway too quick and have the suspension go up into the fender as I turn, and then wreck my fender. You know, after it's painted is when I'm going to care, because this whole car is going to get repainted eventually. But I still have to take off the rocker trim. You can see here too, I'm sure a lot of guys, once this is all unbolted, see how this could flex out probably enough to clear the wheel when turning. But when you look down the side, it's straight. If you were able to put a straight edge, this fender, front of the fender lines up with the back of the fender, and it flows right with the bumper, side of the bumper. I don't really like the look of pushing the fender out. You can see too up here, it does some kind of weird things visually. Whatever, everybody's got their own way of doing things. That's not how I'm going to do it. I'm going to continue on my path of cutting and welding and making this fit right. This whole area will go forward more. This I will tweak also, so everything still bolts up proper. And let's see what else. You know, this is dry rotted plastic. That's the downside of a car that's been in the heat. But I'd rather deal with dried out plastic than a car with good plastic that's been in the rust belt, and then I'm doing metal work, right? So that's the good and bad of things, right? I'll take rust free over lousy plastics that are dry rotted. Let's keep going here. I take this off. Obviously, I know at one point this car was just a used car and nobody cared. I don't know. Probably a lot of people still don't care. But what I hate it when trim gets hit and beat and they rivet it on, or they sheet metal screw it on. I know they kept the car on the road, great, blah blah blah, but dang. If they wouldn't have drilled these holes, this probably could have been hammered and dollied and metal worked back to usable condition, but whatever. Rocker trim on both sides have been removed. Front piece, super easy, just screws and hardware. And the main rocker trim, obviously except for the doors, same thing. Screws on the bottom, screws in the jamb. Just lift up off these clips that did not break. On this side, there's two in the front, one in the back, you know what I mean? And then on the driver's side, one right there did not break, and these two were missing. They obviously busted loose when the bottom of the fender got damaged and the rocker trim got damaged. To me, this, I don't know, it might have jumped a curb, but to me this kind of seems like a ball joint broke, pushed the wheel back and popped this. Whatever, could have been a curb, but what happened here, besides the obvious, is it pushed the fender up just a little bit. Should be able to see that body line needs to be adjusted, and it screwed this up, and you can see right there. Let me turn the light on. There's a wear mark in the paint. The fender is up too high and in too far, so when the door gets opened. Yeah. It's all adjustable. It's all just metal. When I cut this, it'll loosen things up here and I'll straighten that. And most likely, I know the trim covers this, but mentally, those holes aren't supposed to be there. I'll weld them up. I'm gonna be welding here, or at least here, most likely here too. But I'm going to make a template to show you guys if you're you know, new to all this and you're worried about cutting, slicing, dicing, welding. I'm gonna make a template to show you that once you make the template, you can cut the template and play with it to see where the best area for cuts will be. I'm gonna assume right now it's gonna be on the low part of this curve. And I definitely, and then let me turn the light off. Maybe, yep, you can see better with the light off. The body lines, right? There's a body line right here, and then a body line further in, like I wouldn't call it a fender flare. Let's just call it body lines. But anytime you cut and weld next to a body line, you're less likely to warp the sheet metal. So I will be cutting close to this inner body line and taking away from this piece. Whoop, right? All right, let's do it. Template made, and you can easily see what's happening here. I cut pretty much in the middle of the radius, and just a little bit of movement up here is a lot down here, right? Maybe a eighth, or maybe not even a quarter of movement up here is like an inch down here. So there should be plenty to play with here. And you know, cut this off, move it to where you want it, and you're gonna have to grind close, because this is like, obviously when you pivot this, it's either gonna open up here or overlap here, right? So it's just gonna be a cut and fit, but just eventually cut it. You can always weld it back on if you're wrong, right? You know, think about it as much as you can to make life easier for yourself, but eventually you just gotta get after it. No turning back now. She's cut. Super easy. Just line it up and start slicing. 87 still had some nice gauge steel to it, so this'll weld up real nice once everything's lined up proper. I'm gonna drop it down. I got these wheel alignment swivel plates from Trick Tools. They're for doing wheel alignments. You know, they got the degrees on there for proper alignment, but this will make things a lot easier. I'll drop the car down right on this swivel, and I can, from out here, I can grab the wheel and turn it without having to get up and use the steering wheel all the time. So let's do it. Drop it down, start turning, and see how much more needs to be cut, position the new piece on there, and fit it. this is where I'm gonna want it, with the wheel turned where it's gonna be the closest to the fender. There's still like half an inch of clearance there. I can slide my fingers through there, no problem. Well, welding sparks and sparks from cutting metal will, you know, damage the chrome if it lands on there wrong. So welding blankets, they're fiberglass, they're itchy, so wear gloves, right? Unless you're going to be scratching yourself all day. But you can see here from the tape line. Also think about this too, like you know, you got these body lines, and cutting it in the center of the apex, it still flows. It's not going to look weird or anything like that. But down here, there's a straight body line. Maybe turning the light off will help. Yep. Okay. You can see that body line now. You can see how screwed up it is. This is now pointing up. This one is still proper, right? But think about what you're cutting. This is overlapping this. You don't want to do overlapped metal on fender skins or sheet metal, door skins, whatever. It's just not the right way to do it. So you got the option of trimming the fender that's still on the car, or the fender piece that we cut off, right? Well, trimming this along here, get rid of this wrong body line. Now let me show you, because it's overlapping quite a bit. See that? It's overlapping a lot. Right here is the body line, so I can trim the piece I cut off close to the 90 break here, right? And still keep this body line how it should be. And these, let me take this off, show you how much it's overlapping, because it's overlapping quite a bit. Look at that. That's a good inch right there. You can see I marked it. So we move things a lot, right? So I'm going to do a combo of trimming stuff off the fender and off this piece, if I can hold on to it long enough, right? Combo of a cut-off wheel, grind, might use a carbide tip to round some of this off, make it look super nice, and butt weld it. Do not overlap it, because it'll do weird things in the long run if you just overlap it and mud it up incorrectly. Fitted and ready to tack in. Didn't take too long. Behind here, this magnet, you can see I sliced a little bit here, because you can see the contour is just a little, it goes like this a little bit at the seam. So once I tack this perimeter in, I can just take a body hammer, tap that up a little bit to get that perfect contour. This contour looks good, feels good. so I'm not going to worry about it. And overall, I plan on putting the trim back on, but I want it to look good even with the trim off, even though I'm putting it on. So little relief cut here, tap tap, and get this fender contour on the money. Ready to attack that. Let's do it. Welded in, ground down where I cut and refit everything. Totally happy with how that came out. Finish sanded in 80, and you can see this is the inner fender. That moved. There's an inch gap there now. This lower area, that is let's see, 2.5 inches. You can see on the other side, I haven't modified that yet. Quite a bit of difference. Quite a bit. 4 1/4. Big difference. But visually, like when you step back and take a look at it, it still looks right to me. I'm gonna have to modify that end of the wheel well opening also, but right now, to really finish this up metal wise, there is a little filler piece right here that needs to be made, and that's no big deal. That'll be super easy. I can probably use some of these pieces. I can probably cut this one from what I cut off and fill it in there. You really want to have this connected, because if you catch a lip here on something, it'll bend and tweak, and it just doesn't have that finished look. So I'm gonna make that piece welded in real quick. Got that little filler piece fitted and welded in and nice and flush, and I bolted this back in. Hammered and dollied this, because remember, it was like way out here, so that's nice and tight. I'd probably do a little bit more right here, obviously. Might even maybe put another fender washer setup in right there, so that's nice and tight. Let me drop this down and show you where we're at when it's on the ground. All right, let me turn the wheel here, and you can see how much clearance I have in here. That's the closest point right there. 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more, right? So totally happy with that. And now that I can turn the wheel past the fender, we can look inside here, and I can show you how close I am to the frame with it turned. That's full crank right there. So you should be able to see. Let me get another light. There's about 1/4 inch of clearance between the sway bar and the inside of the frame rail. So I do not have to worry about the front part of the frame. I may have to worry though about the backside of the frame in here. But I'm not going to worry about that until the backside of the fender opening is situated. I'm going to have to open this up just a little bit. Let me crank the wheel the other way and you can see. Just a little bit. Right? All right. She's sitting super nice though. That tire is just tucked in there just a little bit when you're looking at it from the side. Looks like this is going to be a two-part because I got the front done and it's getting late in the day. It's getting a little warm in here. The sheet metal 102. So, and it seems like the video is getting long for one of my videos. I will continue on. I will bust this out on the other side while it's fresh in my head and then come back, fix this dent and open this up. Pretty much similar to how I did this side. So, hey, if you made it this far, let me know if I earned it, okay? Hit the thumbs up, comment, attaboy, or if you think I didn't earn it, just punch in there, work harder, son, with an exclamation point. How about that? Let me know where you're at too. I will continue on with this. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll keep giving you more weekly content as always. Thanks.